Welcome back. President Trump signing a new proclamation banning travel from more than 12 countries deemed national security risks and public safety threats. The list includes Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, Libya, and Yemen, all labeled very high risk due to terrorist activity and weak or hostile governments. Then there's partial restrictions on Venezuela, Cuba, and Laos. The president also suspending any foreign student entering the country looking to study at Harvard. Joining me now with more on all of this is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Give us your reaction to President Trump's proclamation on this ban.
Yes, indeed. It is appropriate that we ban individuals from these countries. Maria, one thing we have to realize is it is impossible to properly vet them, because these adversarial nations will give them false identities and travel documents and then allow them into the country. And they're here many times to spy and to conduct activity that is not going to be helpful to us. So good for President Trump blocking them. And it is appropriate also that he blocked these individuals coming in to study at Harvard. We need to look very closely at who these academic institutions are inviting in. And the Chinese spy story today actually adds the exclamation point to this. President Donald Trump is right. His assessment is accurate. These are adversaries. We do not need to allow them to come into our institutions to do research, to steal our intellectual property, and to do us harm. They are not our friend. They are our adversary.
Well, we know that the spying has been going on for some time, and there's nobody better at surveillance than the Chinese and the Chinese Communist Party. But today's headline is even worse than just surveillance. I mean, this could be assassins. A Chinese scholar at the University of Michigan tried to smuggle in biological pathogen into the United States. Kash Patel explained how serious this is, that they've arrested this University of Michigan scholar, quote unquote, from China. Yu Qing Zhan, 33 years old, and her boyfriend, 34-year-old Zhongyang Li, unsealed in federal court in Detroit on Tuesday, marking the second time in less than a week that a Chinese national with ties to the university has been charged with federal crimes. Your reaction to this? She received a doctorate degree in plant pathogens from Zhejiang University. Investigators say that they've discovered information describing her membership to and loyalty to the Communist Party of China.
And Maria, we know that the CCP, because of their National Security Act, they have control over all of their citizens. When they send you to the United States, they can have you do their bidding. We know that they have had these police stations, as they have been called, in different cities where they have large populations and they can surveil. And of course, they're going after professors and preachers. They are going after students. They're going after these Confucius institutes. That's why I have worked so hard to close these things down. The Chinese Communist Party can direct their citizens to spy on you. It doesn't matter if it's a sister city program or a university. You have to be judicious in how you're going to have these relationships. And this is a great example of someone who was posing as a researcher, coming in under a false pretense, if you will, and yet is here to spy, who is here to do us harm, and is bringing in these seeds to infiltrate into our agricultural community.
Well, it's very concerning. Obviously, after COVID and the COVID cover-up and all the fentanyl the CCP has been pushing in, now this. Is there anything you as an elected official can be doing more about this? I know you are one of the few who's worked very hard trying to stop the Chinese Communist Party bad behavior, but what else needs to be done? Should we be pushing economic levers like stopping investors from funding the expansion of the CCP by removing these Chinese companies that trade on U.S. exchanges?
Absolutely. We should be doing that. We should be working with the states to also prohibit Chinese companies or Chinese citizens and some of these investment groups from owning property in the United States. And we know that Chinese invested companies have tried to buy enormous amounts of farmland in the United States. And if you need any further proof of why it is stupid to do this, just look at what has happened now with this agrobio issue and what we are seeing from this with the seeds that they are trying to bring into the country.
Unbelievable.
So, and then also, I would encourage President Trump, who's doing a great job on this issue, to raise it with Xi Jinping. We know what they are doing, and they need to know that we are not going to tolerate this.
Yeah, well, that's what I said earlier. President Trump is going to speak with Xi Jinping this week. I assume this has to be one of the top topics that the president will raise with Xi Jinping. We'll see what happens. But, you know, when Customs and Border Protection officers first questioned Lee, the boyfriend, he made false statements to the CBP officers about the purpose of his visit to the United States. Ultimately, he admitted that he did smuggle in this pathogen, and he stated that he brought in the passage into the U.S. so that he could conduct research at a laboratory at the University of Michigan where his girlfriend, Jean, worked. And, of course, she's supposed to be some scholar at the University of Michigan. Now, they had a conversation, which the FBI released the conversation. And Lee says, where did the seeds get put? She's in the tube. Jean says, I put them in my Martin boots in a small bag, the Ziploc bag, very small. Lee says, that's good. Just put them in your shoes. Jean says, I stuffed them in the shoes. They go on to say, Teacher Lang's seeds must be placed well. So obviously a teacher gave them the seeds to bring into America. Jean says, where to put it? I only have one pair of shoes. The insole cannot be pulled off. Lee says, did you bring just one pair of shoes? Jean says, 3 pairs. I'm wearing one of them. I mean, this is just extraordinary. It's what should happen to these people? Well, you know, I mean, should President Trump be doubling down in terms of academia's relationship with Chinese Communist Party-related students?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Maria, this goes back to the point that we cannot properly vet people from adversarial nations. And then you take China, and you know that they are using these researchers to infiltrate, to grab our intellectual property, to be able to do reverse engineering, and also to conduct this type adverse activity and bring this pathogen into the United States.
Very concerning.
Now, this is very concerning, and of course, this is something that everyone needs to be aware of.
Right.
Don't go online, buy garden seeds from China. But President Trump needs to raise this as a geopolitical issue with Xi Jinping and begin to put this on the table and discuss it. We know what they're doing. They have been doing it for years. They got by with it under Biden. They are not going to get by with it under President Donald Trump and a Republican-controlled U.S. House and U.S. Senate.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Let me move on because the European Central Bank just cut interest rates, 25 basis points rather. This is the 8th interest rate cut since June of 2024. President Trump is pushing to scrap the debt limit. And the Congressional Budget Office's new prediction that President Trump's tariffs, already the tariffs received up until May 13th, will cut the deficit by $2.4 trillion. Elon Musk is still pushing back on X. He says the bill should be scrapped entirely. He posted this Kill Bill meme. But the Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought says that the CBO's score confirms that the bill will reduce deficits by $1.4 trillion over 10 years. And yet many of your colleagues in the Senate are complaining that the bill is still spending too much money. We spoke with Rick Scott. We spoke with Ron Johnson, Rand Paul. Where are you on this bill? Are you a yes or no at this point? And what more can be cut in your view?
Yes, and the Senate Finance Republicans met with President Trump, Secretary Bessent, and Kevin Hassett yesterday at the White House. Maria, we are going to get this bill passed. we are going to put the Senate mark on it. That's a good thing. We would like a little more cutting than the House has done. Anytime we reduce spending and yield a savings for the American people, that is a positive. President Trump's agenda deserves our support. The American people voted for it. You're going to see unity in the Senate on that fact. We're going to get this bill finished. Our goal is to get it to his desk by July 4th so that it is a true Independence Day for the American people and that they know they're going to get the largest tax cut in history, not the largest tax hike.
Well, that's
we need to make certain we're cutting these taxes. And Maria, we need to let the American people know, Main Street businesses know, their taxes will not go up under President Donald Trump.
Your efforts will stop the largest tax increase, and that's certainly important for the public as well as markets and the economy. Senator, good to see you. Thank you. Marsha Blackburn joining us this morning. We'll be right back.